Life is not always so linear, and not everything that you think you need, you really do. We heard a story yesterday about a man who lost his right arm. He used to be a very famous pianist before his accident, and after he lost his arm, of course, he fell into depression. How could I play the piano? You need two hands for that, and I only got one. Well, of course, he fell into that lie. And then many years later, he moved into some dump of a city, of a little town, where he figured he'll never see another piano ever again, to never remind him of his grief. And then, of course, the town bought a piano. And nobody in that town knew how to play the piano. So late at night, after everybody was sleeping, he snuck in the room with the piano and, while planning to break it, he started playing it instead. And he started realizing, hey, wait a minute, I can kind of wing it, and I can kind of play with my left hand. And he started practicing and practicing when everybody was sleeping, and they couldn't figure it out. Who was playing at night? And eventually they found out, and he gotten good again. He kind of picked up his skill, and of course he put out a recital, and he became one of the most famous one-handed pianists of the late 1800s. And he's not the only one. There were other people. Another man that was a miner, a coal miner, very strong man that lost one of his hands. And I said, well, now I'm useless. I can't do anything now. What can I do with one hand? Well, maybe you can use your brain instead. And he started studying law and became one of the most successful lawyers of his day. Something that would never have happened had he not lost his arm. And what about Grandpa? My grandpa, 3 years ago, 4 years, 3 years, he got stabbed, pricked with an umbrella, an aluminum umbrella that had a flesh-eating bacteria on it, right in his right thumb. And it was horrible. He almost died because of it. 3 operations on his thumb, 6 to 8 months of recovery, and he never fully recovered because his thumb pretty much stayed useless. Couldn't have anything touch it, couldn't use it. It was there, but nothing he could do with it. And of course, at first, he felt sorry for himself. Like, I can't do anything with his hand now. But he learned. He learned how to eat without a thumb. Instead of holding your utensils between, with your full hand, with your thumb, you just kind of stick it between the middle fingers, and you learn to eat as if you would with a hook. And what is the point of all of this? The point is that there's always a way if you are willing to look for one. We think that it is just how it is, and if I lose one thing, I'm useless and can't do anything without it. But the Lord has designed us that we have so much extra, so much, what's the word? There's a word for that, I can't think of it right now. But we can lose various parts and still function. We do not need everything. Not everything is vital in our body. You can live without an arm, you can live without 2 arms. You can live without 1 leg, you can live without 2 legs. Sure, it's not going to be ideal, it's not going to be as comfortable as it would have been with it, but it's possible. And it is only in times of necessity when invention comes to be, when creativity shines and you realize the true genius of your design. That even when you lose something that you deemed so important in your life, your best days could still possibly be ahead of you. Doesn't mean that they will. After all, for every story of a man who lost his hand and became a successful lawyer, there are 10,000 others who didn't. So what's the difference, really, between one story and another? Because both went through the same experience. The difference is the attitude. Because the attitude always makes the difference. I heard the story of a couple of salesmen that both they were shoe salesmen, went to an island where nobody wore shoes. One salesman said, "It's useless, nobody wears shoes here. They don't care about shoes." The other salesman looked at it and said, "Wow, what a prospect island. Nobody has shoes. Everyone's a potential customer." What's the difference? They both saw the same thing. The difference was their attitude. So when you go through something, when disaster comes, when tragedy happens, how do you handle it? It's okay to mourn. It's only natural. You lose something, you should mourn. But after you've mourned, when sadness subsides, what do you do now? There was another woman who was blind, lost her vision and felt sorry for herself until she realized she has this thing called intuition. And she can do things without eyes that other people couldn't do with eyes. There were so many stories. I love these kind of stories because they all talk about redemption. When people rise above their circumstances, not under the circumstances, above them. This is what I have and this is what I was able to do with it. When Stephen tore his tendon on his foot, he still went out and preached on crutches. Did more than most of you do with both legs. He was out and about, available in the world, and the Lord used him to share the gospel, to preach, to teach, to encourage, to uplift, to rebuke and correct. He did a lot with one leg, barely walking. What do you do? See, it's always about the attitude. Well, it's what I got. What can I do with it? The Lord does not need much. He told Gideon, you already have too much. 30,000? No. 3,000? Still too much. 300? This I can do. Because it is always the Lord that brings forth success or failure. Don't forget that. I know it's natural for us to think that we are the ones that decide the outcome based on our strategy, based on how well we prepared. And for the most part, the Lord allows nature to take its course. But if you're a man of God, it's different because we have faith. And we know that it is not the size of the army that decides the fate of the battle, but it is the Lord himself. He doesn't need anything. He can use a rock and raise up rocks for Abraham. He can use no rocks at all. He can send a raven to feed you. He cannot feed you at all and sustain you without food for 40 days. He can do whatever he wants. God is not in a box that he has to do something in a particular way. You can have the best days of your life after the worst of your life. When you've lost everything, when you lost your health, just look at Job. He lost everything except his nagging wife and his own life. But he was ill, he was sick, he was diseased, he lost his children, lost his wealth, lost his health. And he regained all of it and then even more. Lived an extra 140 years, saw his great-great-grandchildren. Had twice as much wealth as he had before, and he was very wealthy before. But if you were in his shoes, would you have believed it? Would you have kept going? Or would you have given up? Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. We go through this all the time. We want to do something our way, and then Papa throws a wrench in the wheel, and we go, hey, but. Papa says, well, that's what you want to do, but I got a different plan. And we have to be pliable, flexible, to understand it's not what we want to do that gets done, it's what God wants, and we just obey. Many times, Stephen can testify, he goes in the studio wanting to record one song, ends up recording 3 other songs that he never even planned on and that he never even wrote. It just came out. He's like, hey, where did this come from? I was going to record this song and all of a sudden I do this one. And that's not even how I wanted to sing it. But this is what the Lord does. And it is the attitude for the believer that knows that God is in control and he does whatever he wants. And there's nothing you can do about it. You could resist to your own demise. Just go along with it. Be grateful and realize there's always a plan for those who love him and are called according to his purpose, as it says in Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. If you love him, if you want to serve him, then don't worry about it. It's not that all is good, but that all will be used for good. Breaking a leg, losing a child, all of the tragedies of life that are horrible, God can use it for good and bring something wonderful out of it that you would never have imagined. So don't lose faith. Trust in the Lord.